Hello, 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 and welcome. Welcome to everybody who is catching this on the replay. I'm going to wait for the room to fill up as we typically do. I want to wish everybody a very happy full moon in Aries. This is a very powerful day. These energies are off the charts. I apologize for not getting the video out sooner in one respect, but in the other respect, it's kind of cool to do it the day of and be live in these energies because they are so profound and intense. I've had time over the past few days to do a little bit with the shorts. And so I've given you guys little snippets about the energy. So we're going to kind of condense all of that information here, and then we're going to pull a few cards and see what energies we can tap into, what guidance we can tap into through the cards, as we always do. Anybody who is here live, go ahead and hop into the chat, say hello. It's always great to see all of you and to be able to connect with you on these live streams. Everyone, make sure that you are hydrating. Lots of intense energies coming in right now. Hello, Vita. Hello, Caroline. Hello, Solomon. Hello, Evelyn. Welcome, welcome, welcome you all. So I am doing this live stream while my son is napping. And so we're going to go as I have my little baby monitor here. So we're going to go as long as he sleeps. I think he's down for the count for a little bit though. So I think we have a little bit of time here. Hello, Ty. Hello, Emily. Oh, so glad to see you all here. Got a great crew already for this wacky and wild full moon in Aries. And so for those of you who have caught some of the little snippets that I've put out here, this full moon is connected to the eclipse that we had in April. I believe it was April 20th. We had a solar eclipse at 29 degrees of Aries. And there was a video done on that. So if you guys did not see that video, I would check back into that because we're going to be revisiting some of the themes and energies from that. I think it's really interesting. So 29 degrees is, of course, the anaretic degree. And I'm really excited about the class that I'm going to be teaching for Synchronicity University in a couple weeks here, talking about the critical degrees. 29 is hello, Clown Atlas. Hello, Leanne, by the way. Leanna. 29 degrees is, in my opinion, the most significant degree in astrology. And so that's really powerful that we had that at 29. And now this eclipse that we're discussing today, or not eclipse rather, but close to it, is what the energy feels like. It is warming us up and bringing us into eclipse season here. This full moon, this final super moon, I believe, of 2023 is happening on the 29th. So it's at 6 degrees of Aries, no longer the 29 degree point. However, it is on the 29th. So we see the energy of that 29 kind of carrying us through, and just yet another connector. And we are, of course, going to be continuing this saga, if you will, of Aries Libra eclipses as we move into 2024. The eclipses follow along with the nodes, right? So we see eclipses in the signs of the nodes, and then we're going to begin, I want to say in 2024, we're also going to begin peeking into the Pisces Virgo axis there, and we're going to have one set of eclipses there, which will lead us into 2025 when we're working with that energy there. I was just making sure I was getting my years straight. Yes, we are still in 2023 right now. So yeah, just making sure I can still count. It's been a long one. I don't know about you guys, but the energy of this moon has been so intense between the baby and just my own strange and wacky sleep schedule, or lack thereof. Sleep has been hard to come by in my household. So I don't know how you were all doing with that. I don't know if you guys are feeling fired up, perhaps a little bit anxious and jittery. It's a lot of intense fire energy going on now. And so, yeah, just bear with it, you guys. Hopefully we'll all be getting some better sleep in a few days here. Aries also is an energy that has to do with the head. And I don't think it's a coincidence that I had a headache for like pretty much 2 days straight. So I don't know if anybody else was experiencing that. Probably some crown chakra and some third eye upgrades going along with that as well. But yeah, the headaches were pretty intense. I think they were also sleep deprivation induced. I don't know about you guys, but I tend to be more headache prone when I'm not sleeping. Yeah. Yeah, so a lot of just setting that intention to kind of like lightly open up that area if you're feeling that. That can sometimes help a little bit too. And even if it doesn't relieve the headache, it does allow sort of like the energy to enter more freely, to move around more freely. Um, so yeah, there's that. So looking back at April 20th, looking back to what was going on around that time, we can see some of these energies being initiated and this kind of next phase of unfoldment of that journey. This is an interesting full moon too, because we have Venus retrograde. Venus is no longer technically retrograde, but she's still in her shadow period, and Mercury is still in his shadow period as well. So we have two planets who were retrograde, have station direct, but are still within that shadow period. And Venus's shadow period, I believe, ends in a few days. So it's not going to be too long after, but she is still within that shadow period right now. So we've got some of those themes from Mercury retrograde, from Venus retrograde coming up, themes from that first eclipse that we had. We're also moving into eclipse season, or the second half rather of eclipse season. So we're going to be having an eclipse, a solar eclipse in Libra, and that's going to be on the 14th of October. That's going to be a ring of fire eclipse in the northern hemisphere here in the Americas. That's what they call it when the you can see just the ring of the sun behind the moon. It's otherwise completely obliterated from our visual perspective. So that's pretty powerful there. That's going to be in Libra. And then on October 28th, we're going to be having the Taurus lunar eclipse. I believe that's at 5 degrees of Taurus. And that is going to be wrapping up the energies of the saga of eclipses in Taurus and Scorpio. And what was interesting about last year was that, like we said, a lot in some of those years where the nodes are shifting, we see the energy where we begin to get the preview of where the nodes are going next. In 2022, it was just Taurus and Scorpio. That's where all the eclipses were. And in 2021, we began the sneak preview of those energies. So really beginning at the end of 2021, I want to say it was, we've been going through this journey with the Taurus and Scorpio energies and the Taurus and Scorpio axis. And if you guys want to learn more about the axes of the zodiac and how these opposing signs influence each other and balance each other out, and the interplay of energies, the lessons and the evolutionary lessons we're learning there is a course that I offer that was a former course that I taught for Synchronicity University on that. So email me. My email's in the description box below if you would like to purchase that and learn more about the specifics of that. But we've been working with that energy for quite a long time now. And so it's going to be a closeout of that. And we're going to get into more of that when we get into the eclipse season video. Right now, we're talking about this sort of opening. But like we said, where this full moon is connected to that solar eclipse, right, where it's just such big, just powerful energy. It really is like the beginning of eclipse season right now. So we want to look toward what themes are coming up here. All right, what is wanting to come to conclusion? There's a very heavy karmic aspect to this full moon. And I think that we're going to be feeling as we move through eclipse season as well. Like we said, tied into that 29 degree, that anaretic Aryan eclipse that we had on April 20th, 420. So we already see it with that. We've got the nodes very active here. The nodes are actually most active and most connected to Chiron. And I did talk a little bit about the energy of Chiron and how important that is right now, where Chiron has hit a critical degree as well. And this degree is more critical in degree theory as opposed to, which degree theory is a little bit different than the commonly held critical degrees. It goes a little deeper. It's something that I definitely relate to and ascribe to. And so with degree theory, 18 degrees is a very powerful degree. They call it 18 and 22, the kill or be killed degrees. And me, as somebody who has a Jupiter at 18 degrees in their natal chart, I've definitely seen that energy in my own chart, which very much feels like, what it feels like is like a major ego death that's happened to me every time around my Jupiter return every time, which is really fascinating because we're hitting that 18 degree mark. There is a death, and sometimes a literal death, most times a metaphorical death. I say most times, I haven't had that many. Jupiter return jet. I had what, 3 of them at this point in my life. But yeah, so it's pretty profound. Something within us is dying. Some aspect of us is being reborn. And this relating to the nodes really has to do with, sorry, I got to X out of, I had a different chart. I want to pull up the chart for this full moon here. This has to do with past life energy. This has to do with our dharma, whatever this death and rebirthing process that is going on right now. It is incredibly potent and powerful and incredibly important. Let me check on the exact degrees that we have going on here. Double check with the nodes. Yeah, the nodes are at 24. So it's not, it's a loose conjunction as far as the North Node and Chiron go, but it's worth noting. We're feeling that energy. And while the moon was not conjunct Chiron at the exact moment of the full moon, as we've moved later into the day, the moon is coming into conjunction with Chiron. The moon is actually, as we're filming this, a few degrees away from Chiron right now. And in direct opposition, it appears, let me double check this. Nope, not quite yet. A little bit after the moon moves into conjunction with Chiron, it's going to be in direct opposition to Mars, because Chiron is currently in a loose opposition to Mars. And Pluto is involved in this as well, with Chiron and Mars here, the aspecting these planets. And so there's with the Aries energy itself, we have this energy of empowerment, right? Some of the energy that Aries exudes. And then when we add in these other factors, it really just gives more juice to that, gives more energy to that. This moon is very much working with the energies of power and empowerment, how we step into our power, where it is that we have allowed our power to be diminished, where we have given our power away, and where it is that we're ready to take that back. There's a big energy and a big focus here on our masculine energy, the ways that we utilize that, the relationship that we have to our own masculine energy and to the greater expressions of masculine energy in the world. And there's like a major healing of the divine masculine going on here. Even though we talked about the 18 degrees as far as Chiron's concerned as the kill or be killed degree, there's like a profound energy of healing here as well. Like we said, we're talking about an ego death more than a literal death here. All right. So there's something that we can perhaps experience this as traumatic, because it is bringing up some of our deepest wounds. All right. It's bringing those up to the surface, which many people will be triggered. All right. People may be acting out on their wounds. And if we're not careful, if we don't take into consideration what's going on right now, we can take that really personally, and we can end up in some situations. All right. So we want to be aware of that. We want to see what's happening, be aware of what's happening. And we want to understand that, yes, this is happening on an individual level, but this is happening even more so on a collective level. And so the way that I want to kind of liken this is, if we can imagine that we're all here just playing a part, right? Which in many ways we kind of are. That's what we do when we come here. This is a character. This is an avatar. All right. This is just one experience that our soul is having, being so multifaceted. One sort of suit that we've put on. This is kind of like a play, right? So we're all playing our parts. And so these collective energies, these collective storylines are simply moving through us. And those of us who are the curse breakers, those of us who are the lineage, the healers of the lineage, right? Our personal ancestral lineage, collective lineage, right? We are oftentimes the unwitting actors in a lot of these stories, but our job is to create a new story. All right. There's a lot of actors playing a lot of parts right now. And the ones who don't realize that they're playing, they may act out the same old storyline that's been acted out a million times. Our job is to act out something different, right? To create a new story. We are quite literally, with this full moon, breaking the old templates. Very much so when it comes to the ways, especially the ways that masculine energy is viewed, the energy of power, right? We're moving into and creating those new templates for the more feminine version of power, which is power with as opposed to power over. All right. And so this is a major theme right now. We are moving through these, we are bringing through these more empowered and beautiful and divine expressions of how we work with masculine energy, how we relate to masculine energy, understanding that we all hold these within us. And understanding, a lot of people, when they talk about the rise of the divine feminine, right? They act like the divine feminine is rising to become greater than the masculine and kind of take over, right? Like we're trying to take the masculine off the pedestal, but replace him with the feminine. And that's not the way it works. Our masculine and feminine energies need to work in concert. All right. They are equals. They work together synergistically. Yes. At least in the school of thought that I subscribe to, and what resonates with me, the feminine came first, right? The feminine birthed all, right? But that doesn't place her above. All right. It's a balance. When we move into this, it's a union, right? When these energies merge and unify and become one, right? We're not looking to become better than. Nobody is better than. That's the old dynamic. All right. That's the power over dynamic again. All right. And so we're moving out of all of those constructs. We're creating completely new constructs here. And it's a really beautiful thing. But a lot of those old toxic storylines are coming out and being played out so that we can close them out for good. So that's what we want to think about as we're moving through these energies. We're seeing people become triggered. We're seeing people being reactive. All right. It's just an energy moving through them. All right. It's an experience. It's a part that they're playing. And so our job is not to worry about the part that they're playing and how they're doing at their role. Our job is to be concerned with our own role. Okay. And the ways that we are playing that and how it is that we are standing in our integrity, standing in our strength. Because especially if somebody is coming at us from a wounded place, if somebody is coming at us aggressively, when we can hold our composure and we can neither react to them, we don't meet their aggression with aggression, but we meet it with strength and compassion. That's true power. All right. When we see other people reacting and trying to get reactions out of us, but the reaction doesn't come because we're no longer wounded, right? We've healed that wound. And so when that energy is playing itself out in front of us, we're not engaging with it anymore. We're not getting sucked into it. That's power. Okay. And so it's just recognizing these things and really being that beacon of light and creating those new storylines. And something that came through when I was talking about this before and doing a video on it, like one of those little TikTok videos or whatever. And welcome to everybody who's joining, by the way. I love you all so very, very much. I don't want to get too distracted by getting too into the chat right now, but I see you all and you're so beautiful. All right. So where were we? See, we're talking about not being triggered. We're talking about healing these wounds. We're talking about moving out of those, releasing those old storylines and creating something fresh and new. We're also talking about the different ways. So another aspect of energy that's coming up for many people is understanding the different ways that the toxic masculine and the toxic feminine operate and where it is, or the wounded. I like wounded better than toxic, right? Because the energy, the word toxic has like it has a really negative undertone to it, right? So we're not going to call it toxic. We're going to call it wounded. The ways the wounded feminine and masculine energies operate, right? When we're working with this energy of Mars being the ruler of Aries, of course, Mars being in the sign of Libra, the opposing sign to Aries right now, moving through some territory that can be kind of uncomfortable for him, right? And we're looking at the different ways that this energy operates, and we're looking at the different ways that we manipulate. All right. So this is something that's going to be coming up for people too. Like when we're talking about, sorry, it's really hot. So I thought I was going to be cold, but I'm never cold when we do these videos. When we're talking about this energy, right, of the different ways that we get what we want, where we work with that Mars energy, manipulation is a big one. And manipulation looks like a lot of different things. So we're not just looking at outright aggression. We're looking at the passive aggressive energies. All right, we're looking at the ways that we schmooze people and charm people, the ways that we tell people what they want to hear, the ways that we avoid conflict in order to keep the peace, in order to ultimately get what we want from somebody, from a situation. So these are some ways that the toxic masculine, or the, see, I went there again, the wounded masculine and wounded feminine can sort of operate. And so we're seeing that, we're feeling that, we're looking at where this is coming up. A lot of this is going to be playing itself out in the arena of relationships. We are within Libra season. We have Mars in Libra, right? We have the sun in Libra right now opposing this full moon, Mars opposing Chiron. There's a lot of these energies that we are sifting and working through. That is a big part of the energy of this axis. It's the self versus the other. How it is that we understand the self, right? The journey of the self, how we identify ourselves, right? How we know ourselves. There's definitely an aspect of ego here when we're working with the energy, the stories, how it is that we define ourselves. And there's a need and a desire to continue to break that down. I want to look here at a couple other things. We have some really interesting aspects going on as far as the outer planets as well. So I'm taking a look here at my notes. We have Mercury in Virgo right now. And like we said, Mercury's still in his post-shadow period, opposing Neptune, who's still retrograde in the sign of Pisces. And then we have Uranus right now trining Mercury and Pluto and squaring Venus. And remember, Venus is also in her post-shadow right now as well. And Uranus and Pluto still retrograde. I want to double check that Uranus, I'm pretty sure Uranus is still retrograde, right? Yeah. So there's a lot of truth coming through, a lot of truth that's being highlighted, perhaps painful or uncomfortable truths, but important truths for us to know and understand. And through a few of the little snippets of readings that I've been doing, it feels a lot like a lot of internal tower moments for people. Maybe not so much external. For some, yes, because there is that energy where some people are feeling that combativeness. Not everybody, right? It's not going to be like that for everybody. Everybody isn't necessarily going to be lashing out. For some people, it's just like, it's going to feel more like somebody does something or says something, and all of a sudden you feel raw. You feel exposed, even if they may not even recognize that what they've said or done has triggered something within you. All right, but it's like you feel it all of a sudden, and you feel it to your core, and it reveals something that's ready to be addressed and healed. And so for some people, it's going to be that really powerful internal process. For a lot of us, I think for a lot of the people watching this, it's going to be much more that we may see some of that outer aggression and triggeredness and people being reactive. We may see that more in the outer world, perhaps playing out with our families and stuff like that. But for us, it's going to be more of this internal process. So just be aware of what's coming up. And this is wounds around anything relating to the Aries energies as well. This is our confidence. This is our masculine energy, right? So this is our confidence. This is our will. This is our ability to create, our ability to manifest. This is it feels there is a solar plexus energy here, but there's also a heavy root chakra energy here. So all of those energies of fear, those fear-based energies. All right. And hello, I saw Pete jumping in there. Very happy to see you. Very happy to see you as well, Venom, Annika, Pippi. I see you there. Yeah, so just really pay attention to the realizations. It's like at the same time that there's all of these deep wounds coming out, there's also a lot of inspiration coming through. So pay attention to the inspiration. And this is where the wounds are coming up. I know this has been one of the wounds that's been coming up for me as I've been moving through this energy, is I've had a lot of inspiration coming through. A lot of things that I'm like, ooh, that's really exciting. I want to start implementing that. I want to start doing that. I want to start creating and moving in these different directions. But it's like the motive, the desire is there, but the ability and the motivation to actually get it done, there's been a disconnect there for me. And so that's sort of a wound that I'm looking for. It's like some of us may be feeling this in different ways, this energy of this like sense of limitation. It's like, this is what I want, this is what I desire, this is the inspiration coming through, but like, how do I actually put that into effort in my life? And then we see that balance of the self versus the other, right? The relationships, the responsibilities that we have. How do I balance my responsibility to myself with my responsibility to everybody else? Because I mean, those of us who have families, different things like this, children, there are some circumstances where we have responsibilities that are not the kind of responsibilities where we can just say, no, I choose me today instead. Like if you have a child, you choose that child, you put that child before yourself every single time, every single day. You know what I mean? So there's a lot of nuances here. There's a lot of and so I think what's really going to be helpful is for people to take a look at your own natal chart. If you know your chart, if you have the ability to do this, take a look at where Aries is in your chart, where Libra is, especially where these degrees are. 6 degrees of Aries, 6 degrees of Libra, 18 degrees of Aries, where we have Chiron right now, 20 something. Where is Mars now? I want to say Mars is at like 21 or 22 degrees of Aries today. I'll take a look here for you guys, give you the exact degree where we have Mars. 21 degrees and 44 minutes, 21:44. So that's going to give you an idea of where some of this is playing out for you, and understanding, like I've been doing a lot of work lately at really beginning to understand more of my Chiron placement, to understand my wounds, my deepest wounds that I personally came in here. Because remember, we're talking right now about transiting Chiron, but we all have a natal Chiron in our chart. So really being aware of what that is and what that means for you. And we get a deeper understanding of that as we continue to move through time. And if you guys want a consult where we actually talk about this in your own chart, please reach out to me. My email's in the description box below. Because I've definitely found, even though and I don't know that I've recently looked at the relationship to my own personal Chiron here. I check it out every now and then. Sometimes I get lazy and I forget whether there's an aspect going on. I don't always look for myself. This is just one of those many instances of, putting ourselves last, right? Or whatever, you guys get it. But I've been feeling energies of my own Chiron and my own wounds, my personal Chiron wounds coming up recently. So I think it's definitely an interesting thing to learn more about your own personal Chiron, and then where this collective wound, because remember, when Chiron's transiting, the way that it interacts with specific planets in your natal chart shows how you're going to experience this, but the transit itself is the collective energy that we're moving through. All right, the more personal energy is when you plug it into your own chart, but the collective wound that we're healing right now is the wound around the masculine energy. All right. It's that Mars, it's that Aries wound. It's the empowerment. It's the confidence. It's our ability to go after what we want, to know what we want. That's a big one for a lot of people too. That's coming up right now. Do you know what you want? All right. And remember, opposing Mars, we have that Libra energy. Libra is known for being wishy-washy sometimes, because Libra sees all sides of situations and has a really hard time when you see every nuance of every side of every story. And sometimes it makes it really hard to make a decision. And so Libra energy can be famous for that. And I feel like there's a lot of that right now, where like Spirit's saying, like, you can have whatever you want, but you need to know that you are worth it. You need to believe that you can have it, and you need to know what the hell it is that you really want. And I think for a lot of us, sometimes we get confused about that. So this is a time where we want to get really, really clear on that. And with this full moon, this is a major release point. As full moons, this is the harvest moon. That's what the moon that we're experiencing today is known as and called. And so there is an energy of harvest, and we can see that with all the karmic aspects with with the nodes being activated and all of this, the throwback to the 29 degree eclipse on the 20th, just a lot of things are pointing towards that energy. There is a reaping of what you sow type of an energy to this as well. And what that is the universe really reflecting to us the energy that we've put into things thus far. That's what we're getting back, is the energy that we put in. And so if we don't like what we're getting back, this is a great point to release whatever is preventing us, that we intuitively feel is preventing us from being able to bring into our reality that which we truly desire. So let's see, what else did we want to say here? So really getting clear on that, what it is that we really want, and what it is that it is going to take in order to get that, and really having that courage, right? Aries is the initiator. So it's all about having the courage to take that first step. Something else that I found interesting about this full moon is the fact that it's happening at 6 degrees of Aries, which is a Virgo degree, according to degree theory. And the Chiron, the 18 degrees, the kill or be killed degree, that is also a Virgo degree. So we have a lot of Virgo energy here as well that we're working with. So a lot of energy to do with physical health, to do with mental health, to do with Libra as well, right? Really that balancing of the mind, body, spirit, really essential here. There's all of those when we talk about the daily habits, the routines, the ways that we are the steps and the rituals that we are implementing on a daily basis. So there's like a longevity energy and a strategic energy being brought in here that the Aries isn't necessarily known for, that can really assist us if we do in fact know what we desire. And I think for those of us who don't, this full moon is going to show us. It's showing us what we want, and it's bringing us that contrast, right? Because a lot of times contrast is really the key. Because we may not always know what we do want, but we know what we don't want. And so sometimes when we don't know what we do want, the universe keeps serving up what we don't want until we figure it out. So for some people, we have that kind of an energy going on here as well. I'm trying to think if there's anything else I want to talk about before we go into the cards. And I'm trying to hear, there's like noises. You guys might hear them too coming from my baby monitor. I don't think he's awake right now though. If he is, I will be informed. All right. Whew. How's everyone feeling so far? I feel like that's pretty complete as far as sort of discussing the energies. I feel like we kind of all know where we're at with that. There's an energy here. So something else interesting about eclipse season that we have coming up that we're kicking off right now is that during eclipse season, Pluto is returning for the final time in the United States, in the chart for the United States. Pluto, that Pluto return that we experienced a couple of years ago, Pluto is hitting for the final time that point of the Pluto return, which I believe is 27. I believe it's 27 degrees of Capricorn. Pluto will not be retrograding back to that point again before planting itself in Aquarius. So that's a big closeout of a whole bunch of energies that we're not going to get into on this live stream, but we are going to get into as far as all the energies of dismantling the systems that are no longer working and all of that. But there is a big energy here that we're still feeling and we're getting into right now about challenging authority. All right. Another thing, and being the authority, right? Who and what do we recognize as an authority? Do we recognize ourselves as an ultimate authority in our own lives? And are we comfortable doing that? You know, like, I already could hear when I was saying that, like some people reacting to that and being like, oh, God's the ultimate authority. Are you not God? That's the thing about this reality, right? We come down here, we are God. We are a beautiful fractal of that divine energy. All right, we come down here to have our own experience, to make our own rules, to make our own choices. All right. Do you recognize yourself as that God? That Aries energy is the energy that represents I am. All right. So we're working with the energy of I am. So working with I am statements, being really, really cognizant of what we say, what follows those two words in our minds. And can we create empowering statements surrounding that? Knowing as well that every action that we take, remember action, Mars, Aries, very much about action. Every action that we take is also a statement, is also an I am statement. Everything that you do is stating, I am this, I am that, right? And so making the choices and taking the actions that make the statements that we want to make about who we are. Sorry, checking out the checking this out. And what I can say about that as well, Stanley, is like remember, everything is a reflection, an outer mirror of our internal world. And so when we don't really know what we want, we're sending a lot of conflicting messages out there to the universe as well. So we're going to get mirrored back a lot of different things. And especially if we spend a lot of time thinking about where things have gone wrong, thinking about the things that are irritating us, the things that are bugging us, the things that aren't working well, we're going to continue to get that reflected back as well. Those unhealed wounds and traumas that Chiron is bringing up, those are reflecting back experiences as well. And some of it too just feels like our higher selves, sort of like a teaching moment from our higher selves, like our higher self is like, because it's like, we learn to get a little bit more specific every time as well. Like we send out to the universe, perhaps we say specifically, all right, this is what I want. And the universe sends us that with a whole lot of other stuff too, that we hadn't been specific about. And then we're like, whoa, oh, okay. So actually, maybe I don't want that. And I do want a little bit more of this. And so it helps us to get more clear. All of our experiences, everything that is reflected back to us allows us to become more clear. And it definitely allows us to identify more of those, like somebody's saying right there, the limited mental patterning and constructs. It is 4:44 right now. Love it. All right, so let's jump into the cards. I think I want to actually pull a few from the Quantum Oracle for us. Clear. Oh, yes, that's right. Gotta love that subconscious. Work with that all the time, not just during the moons, right? Set your sacred space, right? Set your shields. Get real specific about the energies that you're creating with. Set that intention to connect with your higher self. And then give your higher self the floor. What do you want to show me? What do I need to see? What do I need to know? All right. What subconscious fears or beliefs are existing within me that are limiting me? Let your higher self show you. Ask your higher self to do the reprogramming for you, right? Your higher self is that powerful. Oh, I love that, Jamie. 1:44 her time. All right, so over on the West Coast, it is 1:44. All right, let's get some, what is going on with this Aries full moon? Let's get some energy here. Let's give us a few cards. What's going on with people? Ooh, interesting. There's like a lot of stuff. It's like starting and stopping, like the way the cards were trying to come out and then they weren't. So I feel like some people have been stuck in that. And remember, we've been in retrograde season. All right. So there has been a lot of that stop and go kind of energy. All right. So we have great gratitude coming out with angels of the four directions. So this is the energy of being at a crossroads as well. And we're being guided right now to really tap back into the energy of gratitude. If we've been feeling restless, if we've been feeling frustrated, if we've been feeling blocked, don't focus on the blocks. Don't focus on what you don't have. Focus on what you do have. And the angels really, with this, angels of the four directions, this card is always about divine assistance coming in and divine assistance being offered. And so this is the archangels coming through, speaking to us through this card, offering to bring us guidance, offering to assist us with whatever it is that we are encountering right now, whatever struggle it is that we are encountering. All right. And we have, I don't know, I didn't actually pay attention to whether it was upright or reversed. So we don't really know. But upright reveals the presence of Uriel and Raphael. And upside down or reversed, I believe it's Archangels Michael and Gabriel. All right. And so I'm going to read all of these two guys, go over these energies, what they're offering just really quickly here, because I think it's going to be different for different people. And so Uriel is known as the angel of the north. He is a source of immensely valuable inspiration. So if you're looking for inspiration, if you're working on a creative product, if you're needing a new idea, right? If there's been some issue in your life and you've just been beating your head against the wall, that energy, like we said, of starting, stopping, feeling stuck, Uriel is here to help you break free of that and help you channel the energy of Uranus, I'm feeling, in order to get that divine inspiration. All right. So work with Uriel for that. He also can help you to tap into the Akashic records, the Akashic information all around you. If you've been working on that, he wants to come through to assist somebody with that right now. All right. The fire of God is one of the phrases here that they're using to describe Archangel Uriel. All right. So I love that. I love that energy there, considering this is a fire moon, right? And even as we move through to that Libra eclipse, it is known as a ring of fire eclipse. So I'm continuing to work with that fire energy, that source light energy. All right, Raphael, Archangel of the East. So if you have issues going on right now with matters of love, relationships, children, all right, physical healing, emotional healing, mental healing, Raphael wants to assist you with that. Especially, I'm feeling like relationship issues right now, where we are working with that. Relationships are a big theme right now. Allow him to bring his healing energy to your relationships. And allow, Uriel, I love, Pippi commented Aries fire there. I love that the fire of God energy. You can ask the archangels, particularly I'm feeling Uriel, to come through, bring that fire of God through to cleanse and clear whatever area of your life feels stagnant. All right, to bring that fire of God through there. All right, bring that through with your relationships as well, wherever that is needed. Just really bringing that through to cleanse, bringing that through the chakra system. We talked, whatever chakras you're feeling need that cleanse and that clearing right now. Work with that, literally fire of God. All right, source fire, source flame. Let's see, Archangel Michael is known as the Archangel of the South. If you need additional strength and stability, if you've been feeling that loss of power, remember this moon is all about reclaiming your power. Allow Archangel Michael to assist you with that. All right. If you've been feeling those insecurities, if you've been noticing those tendencies to manipulate in any of the ways that we talked about, right? Any of that energy, aggression, passive aggression, any of that, you're wanting to move beyond any of that. Archangel Michael wants to assist you with that, and he wants to assist you and give you that extra help to I don't want to say give you, because you already have it within you, but to lend you any of that extra strength that you might need to move through any of the challenges that you're currently facing, especially if there's changes coming up for you. And for a lot of us, there are. Ooh, I like that breath of fire and lion's breath coming to mind. And that's yoga related, isn't it? Isn't it Venom? The lion's breath. and the breath of fire. I like that a lot. I really, really like that a lot. That sounds like a really good idea for people to work with that. Gabriel, the Archangel of the West. If there's something with communication, projects, careers, relationships, self-talk, remember how we were talking about the affirmations, the reprogramming, all of that, Gabriel wants to assist you with that. All right. Engage in the optimistic and self-honoring language that you deserve. I love that. So if you're working on self-love, if you're working on your throat chakra, speaking up, any of these things, Gabriel and Michael want to assist with that. And if you've just been lacking that gratitude, they want to help you to reconnect back with that, to reconnect back with your heart. All right, let's see what else. Clear. Anything else that wants to come through here for us regarding this full moon in Aries? Remember, these energies we feel. We're going to feel them, right? This is opening up that window for the 1010 portal. And then, of course, for the eclipse on the 14th. So we're going to be feeling these energies straight through then. So just because today is the day of the full moon doesn't mean that this is like a wrap after the sun goes down, right? All right, present power. So this is all, and I love how we had talked about the lion's breath and everything, right? And we got the tiger and the lion here. This is really acknowledging and understanding that all of your power exists in the present moment. So this is like a spirit reminding us to come back to the present moment. Those wounds are going to be coming to the surface. So much energy is coming up and wanting to be released. We're healing lifetimes of karma right now, right? We're healing big collective purges and releases of energy, right? Rewriting templates. There's a lot going on right now that's taking us into the past in one respect or another. All right. But what Spirit wants to remind us is like the only moment that really exists is now. All of your power exists in the now. You can call upon all of that right now. So don't get stuck in the past or the future. Be present. And there's a lot of situations, I think for a lot of us, as the healing of our trauma is unfolding, right? We're realizing that for a lot of us, it's like we're realizing that there were specific events that happened. And many of us actually have not been fully present ever since. We've been checked out. We've been detached to some extent because we've been running from that pain. All right. It's like running our entire lives. Ever since a certain thing happened, this is also where pieces of the soul fracture off sometimes. When we experience trauma, this is when entities enter, different things like that. All right. It's like we're coming back. We're coming face to face with those moments. And it's like, in order to be present, we have to feel that pain. Now, don't get confused about this. We don't sit in the pain forever, right? We don't marinate in it. We don't let it consume us. We don't let the pain define us, because then once again, we're living in the past. All right. But we face it. We allow it to be. We accept that it is, that it was, right? We allow it to move through us and we release it once and for all. Some of us, we've been clinging on to that. For some of us, that's what's been going on. For others of us, we've actually been clinging on to that pain, but it's not the pain itself. We've been disassociated from the pain, but the way we disassociated from the pain was different. Instead of running, it was from telling the story over and over again, making that story a part of who we are. All right. We've been so attached to the story. And it's like, because we made it a story, like I said, there was a disassociation that happened because we told it so many times that we couldn't connect to the emotion of it anymore. But the story of it has still been ruling our lives. And so it's like letting that go. All right. And becoming, like we said, more centered and focused on the moment at hand. Anything else here? That's big stuff, you guys. All right, we have the loving man coming out. And what I'm feeling from this, I'm feeling this energy of this. This to me is feeling a lot like self-love right now. It's like reconnecting with that. It's like for some people, I feel like some of this pain here, these things that we've experienced, they made us, we built these walls within our hearts to protect ourselves. Okay. And we haven't let anybody in for a really long time. Even when we thought that we were letting people in, we weren't. We weren't. There's still a disconnect there. And it's like an energy of coming back home to ourselves, coming back home to our hearts, and opening ourselves up for love and all the different ways that love can be experienced. All right. Opening ourselves up as well to love as a way of life, as opposed to as an emotion or a fleeting experience. All right. So it's like a deeper level. We're accessing a deeper level of love within ourselves that then is going to be felt in our outer lives as well. And we're seeing this opportunity to really allow some of these walls that we've built to come down, some of these protections, right? Because that's what they are. Walls are protections. They keep things out. They keep things in or they keep things out, right? Okay, this is interesting. So the cards that we had flipped out here were deserving in reverse, optimism, and behind a mask. So I think there's been this energy, and for some people, it's been like for quite some time, you've been in this energy where you haven't really felt like you were deserving. Maybe you thought that you did, but you didn't really. Not in your heart of hearts. But you've been hiding behind this mask of optimism. For some people, this is like the energy of denying. It once again comes back to denying the pain that we feel, denying the wound. All right. And just trying to put on a happy face. And it's like this full moon is taking away our ability to just put on that happy face. All right. It's like if we've been staring in the mirror and seen something that wasn't seen a false face, right? Like there was so much inner deception, right? That we couldn't really see the truth, our true reflection reflected back to us. And this full moon is going to show us more of that true reflection, but it's actually going to be a relief, because once we see the truth, we can then begin to heal. So it's like the mask is coming off. And there's this energy where it's like we may have been putting on a show, very much like a fake it till you make it kind of energy. But there's something dawning here. There's something that's connecting in a way that it hasn't connected before. It's almost like that energy of, when they say like the crack is how the light gets in. Something is cracking open. Right? And that light is illuminating a space within us that we've purposely kept dark for a very long time. But in that process of illumination, we're actually beginning to feel what it is that we've been telling ourselves was our truth all along. If that makes any sense. It's like the person that says the affirmations to themselves every single day and they just don't feel it and they don't feel it, but they say it and they say it and they say it. And that's part of it, right? But the core wound was never addressed. Now the core wound is being shown to us. And as a result of that, it's like at first we're like, it's kind of like a slap in the face because we're like, oh, so all of those affirmations were bullshit. No, they weren't. That was the truth of what we wanted for ourselves. Now we see the truth of what was lying underneath, and we're able to align on a different level. So it's like whatever darkness within you is being illuminated during this full moon, do not pull away from that. All right? Don't let your ego or your pride and remember, ego and pride show up in a whole bunch of different ways. They don't just show up as arrogance. That's the way that a lot of people see the energy of the ego when it manifests. They also show up as a need to, it's like the mask that we're wearing, that we're taking off right now, that we're being forced to see beyond, isn't the mask that we show other people. It's the mask that we show ourselves. All right. And that's a powerful difference, because when we wear a mask for other people, it doesn't necessarily mean that we don't know the truth. It just means we're not showing that to others. All right. We're keeping that just for ourselves and whatever select people we may trust to show that deeper truth to. All right. But when we wear a mask for ourselves, we have no idea what's actually happening underneath. All right. And this is taking us back to that energy of like not knowing what we really want, right? How can we get what we want if we don't know what that is? If we don't even know our own truth, how can we ever know what we truly want? If we don't know who we truly are, if we don't know how we truly feel. So this is a great gift that we're being given. But it's going to be a bit of a bumpy process for some people. You know, it's a lot of people during this full moon, we're going to be realizing that the things we wanted, we don't really want. The things that we thought were important to us don't really matter. All right. There's going to be a lot of, these are those tower moments that we're talking about. These realizations. We're going to get a deeper understanding of our intentions. All right. Our true motivations, our true desires. But that's beautiful because, and what within us has been holding us back from achieving that. So that's some big, big stuff, you guys. And retrograde season, we're coming out of it, Annika. Within the next month or so, October and November, we have most of the planets going direct. So we're nearing the end of that. As we move through eclipse season, that's going to close out retrograde season as well. And eclipses are really known for getting things moving. So clear. Once we come through that, there's going to be a new sense of movement that we're going to be feeling. All right, clear. I'm trying to figure out if there's anything else I want to do to wrap this up here. Yeah, I'm going to pull a couple Intuit Tarot cards to close here. Any additional guidance or energy for this full moon in Aries? Clear. Warming up for eclipse season. Instead of being consumed by our trauma, we can be the consumer. That's interesting. Krishna swallowing the poison to create nectar. Yeah, and that's the energy of alchemy, right? We take our pain and we create something beautiful from it. That's what's so beautiful about art, I think. And people who, it's like, what is your alchemy? What is the way that you personally alchemize energies? Work with that. Work with that process. In traditional alchemy, right? I do believe that fire is a key element in that process, right? Transmutation. All right, so there's a powerful opportunity to alchemize and to transmute energies here. We're all alchemists, and that's really our greatest lesson in this third dimension, right? Is learning how do we personally alchemize energies. All right, cards. What do we got here? We have the Page of Wands in reverse, lacking self-confidence. Then we have the Emperor, the divine masculine, And the Magician, the pre-manifest. So the Magician in reverse there. And then we have the waning moon, gaining wisdom. And the moon will be waning. After it's full, it wanes back down to the new moon, right? The dark moon. So we are about to enter the waning moon period. We actually technically have entered it since the eclipse was at least in the northern hemisphere, was at 10 o'clock this morning, or the eclipse, the full moon. So we have, this is the energy right here, the self-limiting energy. This is the energy that we were talking about, that we're becoming aware of where this exists so that we can move out of this. All right, so that we can release that and step into our own inner emperor. And this is the divine masculine energy in its highest form. All right. And this is one way that the divine masculine has, this is a way that the divine masculine is currently suffering. I feel like a lot of people's inner masculine, and we kind of got into this a little bit, right? With this energy of everyone's so focused all the time on the toxic masculine, right? They're so focused on that wounded masculine energy and the ways that we have been really programmed to pervert that energy, right? The ways that that energy has been twisted. And so it's almost like masculine energy in and of itself has gotten is taboo, right? Like it's looked at as a bad, almost like masculine energy is looked at as a bad thing, you know? And so there's this energy where almost anything inherently masculine has in some circumstances, almost just automatically been labeled toxic. And so there's a lot of masculines, a lot of our masculine energy right now. Remember, we all have masculine energy internally that is almost like afraid to act. All right. It's afraid to act. It's afraid to, it's almost like, I don't necessarily want to say, I mean, what I wanted to say, the way that I wanted to kind of explain what I'm trying to say right now is almost like the masculine energy has been castrated. Like it's just, it's been afraid. It's now afraid to take action because of how those actions are going to be perceived, because everything that is inherently masculine has been deemed so toxic. And so it's like some people have been just kind of in this more feeble state of not taking action, because this is a wound that their own masculine energy is working through right now as well. There are so many different ways that these energies present. So that's an interesting way to look at a wound of the divine masculine that's being healed right now. It's this energy, and it's also this energy of feeling powerless. All right. Feeling powerless and not knowing how to take action, not knowing what action to take. All right. And there is nothing more painful for the masculine aspect of our essence than not knowing what to do, right? Because the masculine energy is the doer. It's the fixer. It's the like, all right, let's get this done. And so there's this energy of feeling very void of course, feeling like we don't really know which path to choose. It's like that indecisive kind of an energy coming through again, feeling listless, feeling just incapable. And so there's like this beautiful surge of healing coming through for this, where our masculine energy is getting that recharge that it needs. And the beginning stages of that are like the actions that we're being asked to take right now are the actions of planning, establishing the clear vision. So I know a reading's just about over when it comes full circle. And that's where we're at right now, right? It's the energy of we're coming full circle to establishing a clear vision again. What do you really want? What's really important to you? What is worth going after? And what are the steps that you need to take? All right. In order to have that thing. And just this process of pre-manifesting, this process of getting a clear vision and developing a plan is going to empower the masculine energy once again to take action and to regain that boldness and that confidence. All right. Remember, another aspect of the divine masculine is the energy of the protector. Okay? And I think a lot of divine masculines and a lot of the divine masculine energy has almost felt like it's like this energy of being taught that that all they do is harm, and being almost afraid to step back into that protector role for fear of doing harm. All right, if that makes any sense. And when I say that, I'm not saying that the feminine is weak or anything like that. It's that the feminine needs the protection, so to speak. But this is the interplay of energies within us. So that's not like to disempower the feminine to say that. It's a way that the masculine does empower the feminine, that our own masculine energy empowers our feminine energy by being that protector. All right. And so it's like the masculine getting the courage that it needs to feel effective again, to know that it is to access its divinity once more. All right. So our divine masculine brings that energy of divinity back into their actions. All right. Sees themselves as divine once more. And once that has been achieved, the divine masculine energy is then ready to take action once more. Right. And like the simpler way to read these cards in front of me right now is just to say, like, if you're feeling like you're out of ideas, that you're limited, that you're just not feeling confident in your ability to be effective in your life, it's time to just make a plan, to get clear on what you want, to establish a plan, to take some action steps. What are the logical steps that we can take? And if something hasn't been approached, ask during this full moon to receive the inspiration on a different way to approach something, because fresh approaches and new perspectives are going to have a really powerful impact here. And that inspiration is definitely in the air, so to speak. But it's definitely a time of reassessing, reprioritizing, and allowing your higher self to download the new strategies and new approaches, and being open to new approaches. Don't be stuck in the mud. All right. Or don't be a stick in the mud. You guys know what I'm trying to say. Be flexible, be mutable here. Clear. And once again, I'm feeling called to say, like, don't let your pride and your ego get in the way. All right. I love you all so much. Clear. I hope that you enjoyed this reading. I hope that you have a beautiful full moon. I am going to continue on with my evening here. I'm so glad that I was able to get on here with you guys and tap into these energies. Clear. This is a big one. Transformation. This is the cycle we're in right now. Big one. We are transforming. We are shifting so much. All right. So send that love to your wounded masculine, right? Remember, how do we heal one energy, one aspect of our essence? We heal it with the other, right? The feminine is what heals the masculine. The masculine is what heals the feminine. All right. So allow your feminine to really nourish your masculine during this full moon, to build him back up so that he's able to then step forward with confidence, fully anchored in his divinity. All right. And do what he came here to do. You know, it's not diminishing either aspect of our nature to say that each one has an energy and a role to play, so to speak. All right. But those roles have been twisted for far too long. Right. Society we're in the process of unfurling all the damage that society has done to our understanding of these essences within us, and the interplay of them, and the respect that they have for each other, and that we are meant to have for them, and the different roles that they play in our lives. So just really working with harmonizing that, balancing that. There's that Libra energy coming through, the balancing of those aspects within us. I'm going to check through your comments before I close here. Fire breaks things down into carbon, building blocks of new life. Absolutely. You guys are amazing. You're so beautiful. I love you so much. Yes, yes. Don't forget that lion's breath. Don't forget to work with that. Breath work in general is so powerful for moving emotions through us. It's a supermoon. This is the last supermoon. This is like the 4th in a row. The last supermoon, but then we have eclipse season. So work with that energy, utilize that energy. There's a lot of emotions and feelings that are going to be moving through us. So anyway, yoga, breath work, dance, screaming, breathing, whatever you need to do to move that energy, get that energy moving, get that energy flowing, you guys. All right. So much love to you all. I will talk to you all soon, and I will absolutely give the little one a hug and all the love. And yeah, if anyone wants to set up any one-on-one, whatever, anything with me, my information, you guys know how to get a hold of me. I'm not going to go through the whole spiel right now. Love, love, love.